First of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining me a little bit tonight to talk about this interesting topic of a Shiny app. So as I'm sorry. So my name is Luke Lin, and I am one of the instructors in NYC Data Science Academy. As Melissa already mentioned, we are probably the only bootcamp who teach both R and Python in our immersive data science bootcamp curriculum. So the Shiny app that I'm going to show you today, it was mainly built in R, but I will also have some Python component in it. So the main thing, the main idea I really want to share with people is how we could integrate different tools into your daily workflow. People often compare these two languages, especially in the data science community. R and Python, right? Which one do you like? Which one do you prefer? And really, if you look at them from, say, a 10,000-mile high-level perspective, they are kind of similar in a way that both of them help you to handle our familiar tabular structure of data, right? Pandas, dplyr, help you to work with data frame. And they both provide you nice tools to handle data, like the data visualization tools, like machine learning packages, and the list goes on and on. However, if you really work closely with the two languages, they're still quite different in terms of, I would say, the philosophy behind the design. So Python, if your project require a lot of external components. You have to access a database hosted in a remote server, or if you have to use different API provided from different vendors, you will probably like Python more because it's I would say a more general purpose programming language. R, on the other hand, is more specific for statisticians or data analyst. If you have an analytic mind, then you probably favor R. When I use R, very often I will have a feeling that the author of those those packages of functions, they kind of have the assumption that their end user are human instead of next level of programming computer programs. So very often they would like to provide a readable and very complete information from their functions. So our human brain can digest them and select the useful one. So if what you want to do is you have everything ready, right? You have everything in hand, your tools, your data in hand, and you like to try a lot of different approaches. You want to take many different perspectives on a data set, change the parameters, and try to evaluate the result with different metrics, right? R will allow you to do that easily. If you use Python, you probably have to go to a lot of different places to collect enough functions to achieve everything you want, but very often R will give you a very complete output for your purpose. So it's nice, isn't it? And if you want to do so once you start doing this and repeat it, you probably have your workflow. And if you could actually wrap this up into an app, okay, so that whenever you need to change something, you don't have to go back to your code, change a particular chunk of it, or change your input to a specific function, things like that. Instead, you could just click something on your app, or select something or check something, right? That's a lot easier and more smooth for your daily work. A dashboard, right? That's the idea. Yet using R to build your Shiny app is still better than go with some other commercial software, because if you think about it, if you do have some customized process with some more sophisticated analytical method you would like to apply, you don't have to go through, if you're using some commercial software, you probably have to go through a very complicated list of widgets to select some of them to put together and get the result. You could just write your code. R is still a programming language, so you could just write your code and embed that code to your app. So every time you probably just need one click and it shows the result of your fancy process. And also as a language, it still allow you uh, to use external resources. Like if you do want to, if you do want to use Python to take care of a particular part in your Shiny app, and and if you do want to access an external API or data set, R will allow you to do so. I will allow you to do so. And that's really what I would like to share with you today, integrating different components together easily. Okay, so let me quickly give you an example. So this is the main app I would like to share with you today, right? So people ask, is Shiny app the same as other app? So it isn't. It is an app, okay? So that means it allow you to show the, allow you to arrange the widget and load the data and show what you want to see. So you could have some visualization, you could have some, if you want to just look at the table, and if you want to select the different subset of from this whole data set. By the way, I forgot to mention this. The data set I used today is the New York State COVID-19 test data set. It is hosted on the state government webpage. I didn't make up this data set. It is a real data set. And so you could arrange what you want to see and how you would like to, you might want to change a county that you look at. You might want to change the range of date that you look at. So you could put all these together, right? As you can imagine, that you probably have several different summary or visualization you want to look at, and you could just scan through them by clicking this buttons. It will make your daily work very, very easy. And before I show you what I have put in this app, I do want to convince you guys that this is very simple. The code to put together an app it's super simple. So to be able to do that, I want to share with you an even simpler app that we could build together from scratch. And the code could be downloaded from this link that I just shared with you through the chat. You could click on the link and then you will see a Google Drive page open. And don't worry about those characters you see, just download it. Once you download it, it will be a HTML file, double click it. You should be able to see the note that I'm showing you right now. Okay, so while people are downloading this note, yeah, okay. While people are downloading this note, I just want to briefly mention that this one is adapted from a very nice tutorial, RStudio, which is a very popular integrated environment for our user. They put together a very nice tutorial to show people how to do a Shiny app. And I pretty much use their framework and, oh, okay. I use their framework, but I fill in the analytical component that I came up with. So I won't follow exactly what they do. I will just use this note. All right. So to start to build an app, okay. First of all, we would like to have a project folder. Your app is a project, and you would like to have a folder to put everything together. So on your desktop or whichever directory that you used to work with, create a new folder. Give a name. I'm going to call it Shiny Demo. Okay, like this. So I create this folder for me to build my app. And then with an app, you need two components. Okay, so to to edit the script, you could open up your RStudio. You can open up your RStudio. So as I mentioned before, this is an integrated environment for people to edit the code and execute it. It's very, probably the most popular environment people use for R. So once we got to the RStudio, we have to navigate to desktop and Shiny demo, and then set this folder as my working directory. So RStudio will be able to find whatever you say within this working directory. To build an app, we need, essentially we need two components. So that means we would like to create two new R scripts. One of them is, we're gonna call it, we're gonna save it as UI.R. Okay, so that's one file we create, and you will see it here in this panel that show you the file you have in your working directory. And then we need to open another one. Okay. Then we call it server.r. So just like any app, right, or any web page, you're going to have a front end and a back end, the user interface. So UI stands for user interface. The user interface will allow the user to choose what they want. So choose the input, okay? So what date range you would like to look at the data set. So what kind of visualization you want to see. So those are the selection user makes. So those are the input. The user will be able to interact with your app through the UI. And then once users select the input, they will be passed to the server. That's a backend. And once the server understands all the user would like to know from January 1st to March 1st, then we could write a code to fetch that portion of the data. And the user maybe also say, hey, I would like to see this specific kind of visualization. Then the server will construct the visualization and then pass the graph back to UI. And in the UI, we could select where we show the output from the server. So really the front end and the back end, front end interact with the user interface, right? And then the back end, the server will do the computation, constructing whatever user is asking for, and then pass it back. So let's go back to our node, right? So I do write all the steps here. So after the session, you could also follow this node to repeat what I'm doing right now. And the code we have here, so this one goes to, I'll tell you what they are. This chunk goes to UI.R. So we go to UI.R and paste it here. Okay. And then this chunk goes to server.R. So we paste it here. And as you can see, at the chunk from the code of that I passed in, that I pasted in the UI.R, you see there's the part that we define the header. There's a part we define the sidebar, okay, and there's a part I define the main body, okay. Okay, so the server, I'm going to run it, show how we run it. You could just run it here in RStudio. You could definitely host it on a server, but that will require some work to do so. Let's focus on what we have in the code for now. Okay, so that already show you what the structure will be like. Define the structure here. And then on the server, you see that it is a function. If you're not familiar with function, it's okay. But what it will do is it's going to handle the input and output, right? So input from the user, and then we do some computation, and then we pass the output back to user. So front end, back end, again, this shows us that relationship. And once we have this, this is already like a minimum static app, which is not very useful, but I could show you what it looks like. And Let me minimize it. Yeah. So if you're following with me in your on our studio, you could click on this green button, and this one should be pop up. You could just follow instruction, and then this app will be pop out. And as you can see, we don't really have anything, but we do have a very simple button that allow us to open and close the sidebar. We do have the structure of sidebar and the main placeholder for us to host the output. So to have such a structure, such a template is that easy, right? Now you already have some framework. So very often, if you like to build your own app, you could just go online to find a good template and then just copy the structure they have and then fill in what you want to do. That's how easy it is. So if now we understand what UI and server are doing, here I have a little question for you guys. We would like to specify the title. Okay. Do people think we should paste this chunk to UI or server? Any idea? Wonderful. It should be on UI, right? That's an interface. We want to show people some information. So we could copy this part, and then we will go to UI, and then we're going to paste it here. Right, that's a header. That's a header. I'm gonna paste it here, and nope, I didn't paste it correctly. Sorry about this. It should be inside the parentheses. Okay, and then now I will run it. We see that the header that we specify is here. So essentially what you are going to do when you build this app is to construct the right component and then paste it in the right place. That's essentially what you're going to do. And then we would like to have something more, we want to enrich the whole structure. So the next element I would like to show you is the sidebar menu and the tab items. There are actually a lot of widgets or functions that allow you to customize your app. The purpose, to show you these two is not really because these two are most fundamental or most important, anything like that. It's really I really want to show you, this is really like what, 6 liners, right? A very short chunk of code, which could allow you to make your structure very nice. So let's take a look at them. The sidebar menu goes to sidebar, right? Not surprising. So it goes to sidebar, and then we just paste it here. Now I will tell you what they do, but first let me just paste it to the right place. Tab item. Okay. So the tab menu give you the button to navigate, through different tabs, and the tab item define the actual tab. The way we connect them, so how do we know which button brings you to which tab? Well, there's a tab name. So the navigating button is identified with the actual tab with this tab name. And the content, what you want to show people can be defined here. We're gonna put something more useful later, but for now it's just 1 and 2, so that I could quickly show you that these will give you a tab, right? This is the bottoms. So I could go from I can go from table tab to the chart tab, table tab, chart tab. So the content is just 1 and 2. So that gives us a simple way to organize it. Remember, I showed you before, I have table, I have a chart. In reality, I probably have a series of different charts, and then I could just organize them here. So in my daily work, I know that I have to go through these charts regularly, and then make some decision. I could easily do that from this simple app. So that gives me the sidebar. Oh yeah, okay. It was shared through the chat. Let me just, so it's probably hidden by the conversation that people have in there. Okay. So again, this is a link. Once you click on it, you will see a Google Drive page, and then you could just click on download. You probably need to look for a download button and just click on download, and that file will be there. Okay, so now the next thing we'll do is we don't want to have just 1 and 2. We don't just have one. We don't want to just have one. We want to have some data, and we want to be able to build some widget that help us to select the portion of data or to construct the visualization we want. So first of all, we would like to load data, and once we load here, so here's a little technical detail. If you construct something in UI, it will be only accessible to UI.R. If you construct something in server.R, by default, you can only access it from server.R. And if you download a data set, most likely you want both UI.R and server.R to be able to access it. So there is actually a convenient way to do so. You need the third file in your app, which is global.r. Okay, so let me go back to my R Studio to create a new R script, and I would like to call it global.r. Okay, and I would like to move it to the rightmost. And I would like to close this first so that I can rerun it later. In this global.r, okay, there are a few things we could do. Let me just copy this to global.r, okay? And very often, if you have global.r, I mean, at least personally, I would like to just load the packages in global.r because I only need to do it once, and UI and server will be able to access it. Okay, so these are just the packages that I might need to use in my whole process. This one, as you can see from, this is the function I'm using here. I try to read a CSV file that people hosted online, and this is the address of the CSV file. Again, this is the test New York State COVID-19 test data set hosted by the state government. So I could, but I need those to download data correctly, and then I can use it in my app. And then I generate one new stuff called counties. And as the name suggested, this is the COVID-19 data. I'll show you what the data look like very soon. But this is a COVID-19 data set in New York State. So I will have the test perform different data in different counties. Okay, and I would like to know how many different counties I have in my whole data set. And this chunk of code give me that. Okay, so I create this. This is really just a collection of all the counties I have in New York State, and then I would use it. To create this select input. So this is a widget that allow the user to select the county that they would like to look at. Okay, so obviously this should go to UI. And in UI, you could decide where you want to host. You want to have the particular widget. So I would like to have the widget in my sidebar. In my sidebar, okay, and then I could actually have so there are functions in there are functions in that Shiny provides us to adjust the spaces, things like that. So this BR, if you're familiar with HTML, that is really just a BR tag. So it could give you more space between the items, just to exaggerate a little bit. So if I have three BR here, and then have my select input here, you will then see that the widget is added to my app. Oops. Ah, so the problem is Shiny will search for global.r and I misspelled it. So that's why it was not found, unfortunately. Okay, hopefully, yeah, file deleted. Hopefully it will be good now. Okay, so from the sidebar, you can see that the widget is here, right? And if you click on this a drop-down list that you could have all the counties that you have in this data set, and you will be able to select the one that you would like to see. So again, that's how easy you could build a widget in your app. Just find the right function, put it in the right place. That's it. And you got this. Okay. And then, of course, where the county go into your U. So the county is here. So this is the widget, right? In my UI, I have this select input here. And county is used here. So that defines all the choices we have in this drop-down list. So how does it know that it should give you, how does it know that it should include Albany, Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn? Because that was created, that was specified here. Okay. And obviously we don't just want to have a list there, right? We really want to select and then based on that generate different data. So this is how server will work with. So in the server, okay, in the server, we could just paste the function here, okay. And what we're doing here is, so if you want to search, so if you want to react to the user's input, there are a few different ways to do that. But what we're doing here is use these reactive functions. And then what we want to do is we want to filter the data frame, the data we just downloaded, and we want to filter them. We only want the ones that from the county that the user selected. Okay, so if you look at the name, really want to filter the data frame, want to keep the county, which is the one selected by the user. Okay, and then the output of this reactive function is called select, and then so we select this data frame. It is a data frame. It is data frame that you could use that you could analyze in R, but it is not the data table that you could show in the app. So what we need to do is use this render data table function to make the data frame to a table that will be shown in the app. And then we're going to kind of attach it to this output object, right? So you see this $ T. What it means is that the table we generate here, we're gonna call it T, and then we want to attach it to this output. Anything that you attach to the output can be used in UI. Okay, and then again, the server generate this output and we want to show it in the UI. So we have to decide where we want to where we want this table to appear. So we could go back to that's a good question. Can users select more than one county in dropdown? The answer is yes, but unfortunately it cannot be done with my select input function that I choose to use here. Okay, that's a good question. So again, there are a whole lot of widgets that we could use, and the answer is yes. You could do. You need to change your function though. And then we could, so we have to specify where that T, the object T goes, right? So that, and also you have to tell UI what kind of object that is. So we say it is a data table output T, and we want T to be in our table tab. So we could remove one and replace by this. And if I restart, reload it again, you will see that the table show up here. Okay, and the chart is still just 2, table is good. And now it is Albany. You could go to, I don't know, Clinton, and then it becomes the data from Clinton. Okay, and there are, so the data table, the widget that or the visualization or the table, like this data table that Shiny provide us, or it also provide us the interactivity other than what we selected, right? So we didn't say that we would like to arrange the table, but or we didn't say we want to have a widget that order the data, arrange the table, order it, whatever, and the data table allow us to do so. Yeah, so it's really a very nice tool that give us a lot of convenience. All right, so and then I would like to complete the graph part, and that's pretty much everything I would like to show you in this simple table. So, the graph, once the user select the data, will probably want to show the graph as well. So to construct the graph, it goes to server.r. So let me paste it back here. Really in server function, you just keep pasting what you want to construct. So that really gives you a very simple framework to start with. And obviously, if you would like to build a more complicated app, this is probably not ideal because the code will be very messy. But a small one, the one that helps us to handle our daily work, this could be pretty nice already. So if you look at this code, this is the data that the user selected. And what I want to know is the positive ratio, right? So how many new positive that we detected among the tests that we perform every day. And then ggplot2, very nice function to do visualization. Here's a little advertisement time. If you're interested in visualization, I think next week we have a great instructor, Carlos Afonso, who's going to give a workshop in visualization. So I think Terrence and Melissa, they will share the information with you if you're interested in that. Okay, but this just construct a simple graph, and if we hold on, so this one just create a graph, and we pass the graph to the UI by attach it to output, and then we have to specify where P goes to, right? So we could I think so. You could I have never done that myself. If I would like to do credential, I will probably use Python, other stuff. But I believe Shiny also has that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think you could have you could find a package to do that. Okay, so the plot output will go to the UI.R and replace that stupid 2. So here we go. Okay, so the table is here, and the chart is the ratio every day, somewhere from 0 to 20% positive rate. It was much nicer around June and July, but recently it got worse. Right, so that's the line chart of the positive rate. So that allows us to build a very simple app to load. Keep in mind that this is a real data set hosted in the government webpage. We could easily download it. We don't even need to host this data locally, and then generate whatever you want to look at, summary, visualization, even machine learning prediction through this within this app. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. So there's a question asking here. If you got the error that the Shiny dashboard is not installed. Okay, so whenever you got an error message telling you that you don't have a particular package, you could go back to your, you have to stop your app first of all, and then you could go to your RStudio, click on package, click on install, and type the name of the package. So like Shiny Dashboard, right? Shiny Dashboard, just click on it and then install it, and that will give you the package. Okay, any other question about this little simple app? So as you can see, what kind of visualization you want to use, or how sophisticated you want your analysis be, that really depends on how proficient you are in coding and how much you understand statistics or analysis. But once you have those components, putting them together is pretty straightforward with this nice tool, Shiny. To be honest, I don't really, I've never thought about that to wrap up this app. I gotta be honest with you, I don't really know, because if I would like to wrap up a package, I will probably go to Python. Yeah. Okay, so that's a little app. So you could play with it with the note, or after we release the video, you could also follow me again there. What I want to show you now is a little more complicated version that I show you at the beginning of the talk. So this one. I mentioned to you that the Shiny, R being a programming language, you can actually pack a lot of different components together. So if you want, people ask whether we could have more, select more than just one county. With a very simple code, even without changing the function that we use, you could add this all component, and then Albany will give you the data in Albany. And if you click all, that would just give you everything. You could choose the date you want. You could choose, so as you saw from my previous small app, that the trend is pretty bumpy because I literally did just the daily ratio, which is not very nice, right? So you probably want to do the moving average. And if you do moving average, you have to specify the window. If you specify a bigger window, then the line, the trend will be smoother. What I really want to show you is this notification tab, okay? So after you do your analysis, you probably want to share it with people. So you might want to maintain an email list and then be able to send it out through email. If you want to do that, we know that we probably want to have a spreadsheet, right? To have the name and email of the people a recipient of your report. And then also you need to send out an email. For these, right, we don't really need to always we don't need to be restricted to the widgets that Shiny provides us. If you like to have a spreadsheet, we know that Google's Google Spreadsheet does a very good job, right? You might want to use that. And if you want to send out email, you have to have an email service, and Gmail they provide us a very nice API. And those are external components. As I mentioned before, if you want to go with external components, you might want to use Python, right? And can we really combine R code and Python code together and so that we could use all these? And the answer is yes. Okay, so let me show you these components that I'm using. So I have this a Google Drive folder that I prepare for demonstration, and I do have an email list. Currently, only myself, Luke Lin, and an email address I have. And this mailbox doesn't have anything yet. Oh, there's a promotion. Okay, but there's no real email in this yet. Okay, and Google provides us a very nice API to use. The two I use are actually free. And I would use a simple Python. So I put together some Python code to access the Gmail API and also the spreadsheet API, so that, okay, let's say I went through a sequence of graph and decide I need to send out some notification to these people. I could easily just click on this, click on the button I have here. We have to wait a little bit. Okay, it decided that the positive rate is for about 4%, and that was because I used 23 days average. If you look closer to the past week, it is actually worse than that. But anyway, so it says that it's 4.1% positive rate, and a message is, with this particular ID was sent out, and it went to the this email address, which is that. And if I refresh it, you see that, hey, hi Luklin, the most recent positive rate is 4.01%. Okay, so again, there are a whole lot of services you could use, and to be able to use them properly, it probably would take some time. For example, using the Google API, if you don't have any experience at all, it might take you hours to figure those out. But once you have all those components, put them together into an app, that could be, I mean, if you want to put them together, a Shiny app can really help you to do that. Okay, so the last demonstration I would like to do is I want to convince you that this is really, that message is not some pre-built message. It's really something I send out when I click on this. So for example, if I go back to the chart, and if I change the range, right? I go back to, I don't know, 6th, and then instead of going with 23 days, Windows 11, this is an arbitrary number. Okay, and I could also send it to different people. That I've never thought about, avoid a warning message in Gmail. That's I need to figure out. Okay, and so in the email list, I could change the name. For example, I don't want to call myself Luke Lin. I probably want to go with Luke Skywalker, right? That's much cooler. And then I wonder if anybody would like to contribute your name, and if you don't mind to share your email with people, I could send a message to you. Does anybody want to do that? You could share that. Okay, cool. I could take probably 2, 3. Okay. Okay. Let me just stick to 2. Okay. Otherwise, there will be too many copy and paste I need to do. And it's Tom, right? Okay. So once we have all these, I will go back to notification and click on that again. I haven't hit enter, so probably Tom will be missed. Yeah. So I only sent out 2. Sorry about that. Let me do that again. Why is it 3? Yeah, for some reason I sent out only 2, unfortunately. But if we look at the email again, you will see that the new message I got really is the name I have there. And hopefully the other 2, if you don't mind, could you please confirm receipt of the email or not? Let me know so that I have to figure out what happens there. But that just show you the simple way to put things together. Being able to do sophisticated work is one thing, and putting things together to make the whole daily work more smooth, more efficient, that's another thing. And that's the main idea I would like to share with people today. So that's pretty much it, everything I have. Thank you again. I would like to open the floors to the questions. By the way, I think I missed 2 questions up there. Let me take a look at it. Okay, is there any difference between Python and R to build an app? So if you want to build an app with Python, there are several different packages you could choose, Django, Flask, for examples. And I would say that Shiny is still simpler. Okay, especially if you want to work with art, that's an easy way to go. And why does Bill pipeline would like with? It doesn't need to be with Shiny, right? But I was talking about your daily workflow. For example, when I was working with a corporate client, I have to. So we are educational institute, so I have to monitor student performance, and send the reports to our client, to their manager, corporate client's manager. And instead of generating automized message, I have to read the report myself before I send it out. So I put everything together and then use these API with a simple app I built. That make my daily life much easier. And also, if you go through a certain kind of analysis, that's also likely to be the case when you have everything in the same place, and all the summary visualization that you need to help you to make your final decision, and send out and automate some of the repetitive work. It would be very nice to have an app. Okay, thank you very much. So now I confirmed that he received the email. Oh, the UI. So the one I share with. So let me close this first. Let me close this first, and then the one I shared with you was the Shiny demo. Okay, I'll go back to the question and let you look at the code. If you have any more questions, let me know. Okay. Yeah, it is. It is. You could use Tableau. So the thing is, if I mentioned before, if those commercial software already satisfy everything you need, you could go with them, no problem. You need to pay, of course. But if you go with Shiny app, first of all, you don't have to pay. And if you have some sophisticated, customized process, you will be able to write your own code to achieve those. So that would be also nice. And Shiny is still simple. Okay, that's a good thing. So recording, I think Melissa will share that with you. I will have to update the information as it comes. Right. So the information. So depends on how you want to run this app. Every time you start this app, the data will be re-downloaded. So if what you want to do is at a certain time every day, you click on your app, start doing your work, then you could do it that way. Or you could also schedule. You could, I think, I'm pretty sure you could also schedule if you want this, if you want to keep this app running, you could schedule every day, 8 a.m. Okay, re-download the data. You could do that. Thank you. Thank you. So there's a question, how do UI and server know they have to look at global? They know, because that's I think that is decided by the Shiny package. Okay. So if you use global.r, then if you just name the file by global.r, then UI and server will be able to find them. Find it, I mean. Okay, great. Thank you all. Oh, can they be changed? I don't quite understand the scenario when you want to change the file. I've never done that myself. They to be named, so yes, they have to be at least from all the examples that I saw that I've seen. It's always UI server global. You might be able to use the app.r to put everything into a single file. Personally, I will go with different scripts. Thank you. Oh, so if you cannot use Shiny dashboard, then there's certain functionality that they provide is unfortunately not available to you. Um, so you could still find some other template. What you could do is to try to find a template that you like that doesn't use Shiny dashboard, only use Shiny. Or you could update your art either way. So yeah, unfortunately, there's always a version issue, but I guess the bad thing we could do is to search for the things that we need and try to use them. Thank you all. Yeah, you would rather update. That's definitely one choice. Ah, I see. Okay. So Michael actually tried to answer that question with the name of the file, I guess. So if you name the file differently, there's a source function that that we could probably use to specify what is what. Thank you. Okay, so usually when you have an error saying that the argument is missing, very often because you add, I'm not sure if that's the case, but very often that's because in your UI, so like here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 items. To separate each item, I have a comma, but I don't need a comma in the after the last one. If you happen to have a comma after the last item, you're going to see that error message saying that the arguments miss with no default.